Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blockchain Weekly, a weekly video series by Block Relations where we interview leaders from the blockchain and Web3 industry. My name is Ken, and we are lucky to have with us today Deepanshu Tripathi. And Deepanshu is building decentralization infrastructure at AssetMantle, where he's also the co-founder. As a reminder to everyone listening and viewing here today, you can ask questions for Deepanshu directly in the YouTube chat, and we'll have a brief Q&A section at the end where we ask him the best community questions. So Deepanshu, welcome, and let's hop right into the lightning round where we break the ice and get to know a little bit more about you as a person. So getting right into it. So where did you go to college, university, and did your learning experience there help you get to where you are today?
I went to study computer science at a college called Vellore Institute of Technology. It's in India, Chennai. And no, I would say that like definitely the basics, the computer science basic definitely did help me out. But Web3 is its own game altogether, and the MVC patterns that we were taught did not really help in building up this decentralization infrastructure we are building right now. So I'd say partially.
Yeah, it seems like that's always the case. It's not always what you learn in university that helps you on the job when you actually get into the field. So second question here, what was the first cryptocurrency you ever owned and what was the first you ever staked?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. The first one I ever owned was Ethereum. It was very difficult to buy crypto in India back in the days. So the first one I owned was because I mined it, did not buy it directly. And the first one I stayed at first, it was Atom.
There you go. There you go. Excellent. And what was your first experience building in Web3?
The first thing that I built out, like I definitely thought that the Web3 was a great technology, but there were no real world applications of it. So the first one I picked was high seas commodity trading. The first use case I picked was high seas commodity trading, which tokenized OBLs as NFTs and which tokenized inward remittances in Western Union as refunds NFTs and exchanged them together. That particular product I was building under Comdex back in 2018. So that's yeah,
So,
that's where we
so you're,
started.
you're definitely a seasoned veteran in this space for sure. And what's your favorite NFT collection? Doesn't have to be on AssetMantle, could be any NFT collection.
Currently, I would say that I really love the community that Bad Kids is building. Definitely, it's like the collection that is bringing together Cosmos community. I definitely love that happening. That NFT culture getting like introduced to the Cosmos ecosystem.
Yeah, it kind of seems like everyone's pulling together to make sure that project is a success. Uh, and last question here for the lightning round. It's this or that. So worst case scenario, if you had to get rid of one group of these exchanges and you can only live with the other group, which would it be? Coinbase and Binance or Uniswap and QuickSwap?
It's a difficult one, but I'll have to pick QuickSwap, Uniswap because I definitely think that the future is decentralized and like yeah, QuickSwap, Uniswap definitely win this one.
So out with the centralized exchanges and keep the decentralized exchanges. All right, interesting perspective there. I think most of us watching would probably take the same route. All right, so let's get more into the long form questions here. We're going to break more into some current news events with the SEC and more questions about the products AssetMantle is creating. So this past week, we saw the United States Securities and Exchange Commission came out with lawsuits against Coinbase, Binance, and some others, where they indicated numerous top crypto assets were securities. So what is your opinion on that accusation, and how does it impact your daily operations at AssetMantle?
So like I see it as glass half full, and although there were like more than 90% of the top cryptocurrency that we know was have been called out as securities, but like we did notice that Bitcoin was not named in there, which implies that it might like get into the commodities classification, which implies that there is a huge opportunity for like investment firms, hedge funds around the world, even banks to, if SEC start considering it as a commodity, to like hold part of the portfolios in Bitcoin. So which could spell to be one of the best thing that happened to crypto regulation wise in a long while. So yeah, although a lot of cryptocurrencies were called securities and post probably will face difficulties uh, like uh, being traded out of like the United States now, and that might bring in short-term uh, like uh, yeah, devolution of the progress that we made with the cryptocurrency adoption. But overall, I think spells very well for Bitcoin in general.
Yeah, I think that regulation definitely needs to be introduced, and it's almost interesting how Bitcoin is the one asset they're not attacking. However, there's other altcoins that may have only had airdrop distributions or Genesis mining distributions that kind of passed the Howey test. So I wonder, you know, my conspiracy hat. I wonder if the U.S. government is trying to reveal themselves as Satoshi, by not putting any regulations on Bitcoin. But that's just a conspiracy.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, and so AssetMantle recently experienced its first anniversary. Congratulations on that. And what takeaways have you learned leading this decentralized project over the past year?
So the experience have been kind of mixed. Like we did learn a lot. I have been building like Web3 projects for a long while now, but definitely the experience with Asset Mantle was a little bit different. We released the project in on April 18th last year, and since then there have been a couple of events that we all know about in Web3 that kind of yeah were not the most amicable situations for a new project to get its grip on, especially in the Cosmos ecosystem, because I think the whole like downtrend started from the Terra Luna crash. So definitely, yeah, as an ecosystem, Cosmos was not being looked upon favorably. In fact, I got a few recommendations to reconsider. But like, I really love like the community, the rate and pace at which developments happen in Cosmos. Definitely, there is a lot of infighting. There is a lot of criticism around projects, and because the whole ecosystem wants to hold each other up to the best standards. And we did get a like some backlash with respect to like how we did things as well, but we learned a lot from that. And the most important thing that we learned in this period of operation was like looping in the community, and like listening to what the average user, getting feedback from the average user, and like working on that rather than having a like a blinded approach where you form one roadmap and just stick to it irrespective of what's happening around you. So I think that's one major learning that we yeah gained.
Right. So sort of just keep the community, informed on what's happening, and stay flexible as well, because you never know what shoe could drop next as well. And, at the time when you guys did the mantle drop, the stake drop, it was the largest ever airdrop campaign within the Cosmos. And it might still be to this point. Your team executed this pretty much flawlessly and included almost every major community within the Cosmos. And I'm sure everyone is very grateful for that. And so what did you learn from this particular campaign, and what's the feedback from the users?
So definitely, like stake drop was successful in many metrics. There were like around, I think, at the peak 70,000 wallets that were concurrently participating, and that's one of the highest that has been like seen actively participating in any like airdrop activity. Uh, but to be very honest, like when we were building it, when we were like hosting the infrastructure and all for this to become possible, the live indexing and all, because it was a live airdrop rather than a retrospective one, we did face a couple of issues because we were, to be very honest, not expecting the kind of participation that we got. So that was great. That was like a bittersweet moment for us. And definitely the like negative aspect of it was that we did realize that a lot of the criticism about a project comes from initial airdrop, and the community kind of get polarized if the whole process is a little bit difficult. Everyone wants the trophy tokens, but no one wants to like put in the effort for it, and to ask for it is also like something that can get you a lot of flack. But at the same time, we did learn that whoever did participate, whoever did like a fully put in the effort did become a long term like actor, a positive actor in the whole play, who have been all like uh, activity wise contributing very well to the project. So yeah, it's a bittersweet moment.
Bittersweet moment, but I think overall it was a great success. I mean, it was as a first impression, it was kind of overwhelming, I think, and people are gonna warm up to AssetMantle as a project as the years go on, and they see you guys continue to deliver these amazing product suite that you're working on. So I think it's great that you included as many people as you did, and it's only up from here. Um, so as you know, Block Relations partnered with AssetMantle to release 5 educational courses, which is our core product here at Block Relations. And one of them was the intro to the AssetMantle Ecosystem educational course. And this was recently released this past week. Massive course. So there's 24 chapters, over 95 lessons, 1 quiz per chapter, 24 quizzes, and a final assessment where students can complete all of this. And if they pass, they get a completion certificate that certifies them in the AssetMantle ecosystem. So in your own words, can you describe what you think the benefits are for these educational courses, and what benefits do they provide to native crypto users and maybe just the general Web2 user?
Absolutely. So first of all, thanks Ken for like the tremendous amount of effort and thought that you put into creating, that Block Relations put into creating this course. We as a like team, of course, have n number of places and like chats that we can be present in, explaining, evangelizing, talking about like what has been built here and like what are the like new senses of it. But like having a like solid course, having a solid set of like a timed program that anyone can go through, gain a certification, definitely like helps a lot with just pointing a lot of like community members, a lot of like stakeholders in the community uh, too, so that they can like quickly learn and even like gain a token of appreciation, a token of like completion against it. So really do like think that's a huge leap for AssetMantle as a project to have the course ready, that we can point to people. For if I talk about me personally, I think there is a huge interest that I have experience going to colleges and my own alma mater, and talking to the like next set of engineers that are gonna come into the like workforce maybe a year or two later. They're super interested in this technology. They're super interested in how majority of it works and how they can contribute. But except for maybe the Solidity and the Ethereum ecosystem, there's not a lot of information out there for people to figure out how to pursue a direction in Web3. And that I think is sometimes sad, because we as developers, we as open source Web3 like a community, we think that since the code is all out there, since everything is open source, all one has to do is just open up the GitHub repository, look at it, raise a PR request, and you are already contributing to the project. But unfortunately, this set steps that look so simple to us might not be so simple for maybe a beginner. So a courses like this definitely like help multiply one of the most important metrics to any open source project, which is the number of open source contributors. So super like excited about this, and like gaining like dedicated open source contributors and growing our open source community with this resource.
Yeah, that's so good to hear that having more contributors to the open source library is kind of like the end result key metric from these courses, and we're very happy to contribute to that whole process there. So while doing some of the research, I stumbled upon the Inter NFT standard, which you and the team have introduced. And basically, AssetMantle uses this Inter NFT standard for its NFTs on the Mantle chain. And this is different than Ethereum's ERC 721 standard, which many are used to. Can you explain some of the differences between the Inter NFT standard and other standards out there for NFTs?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I'd split it into three parts. I'd first try to explain why Internet NFT, why build our own standard, and why not just stick to ERC 721, which everyone sticks to. What are the advantages and how does it differentiate itself? So, like in terms of motivation, early on in my career, I understood that when you do, I used to work in fintech, and I understood that there are like three or four components that has to work together for a payment to go through. The acquirer, the merchant, the bank, all of them have their own interfaces. And to us as the end customer, end user, we just see one screen on which the transaction happens. But there are like a bunch of systems that talk to each other for a transaction to go through. The major problem there is that although all of the individual component are referring to you, the payment, and the as one entity, all of them have their different schematic representations. All of them have the requests and responses, and all of them have their own mechanisms of accepting these requests and responses. And to interpret one to other, it takes rule engines, components in between that converts one request to other. So the reconciliation cost is quite high. Because of this reconciliation, the conversion engine becomes the main bottleneck to how fast you can process transactions. So the initial motivation was to come out and bring about one schematic representation of like entities, objects, human beings, payment transactions, etc., so that there is no reconciliation cost as such required to do a transaction between two parties. So that was the initial idea, and we kept on evolving it. We kept on working on NFT standards and mechanism to represent asset. Initially, when we started working on it, we did not even know that these entities were called NFTs. The term NFT itself was coined in September of 2017, first popular usage of it. So while working through the initial use case, which was to build OBLs, we realized that it's not necessary that the particular representation of NFT has to stick to one use case. You can open it up and build a protocol around so that any real world assets or digital asset can be represented as this one on-chain object that everyone can refer to and talk about as the same thing, right? So that was the motivation. Now to talk about what it is. Basically, if you think about it, all the URLs that we have, right, that you put into your browser, and the browser somehow magically figures out where that resource is and then renders you a document, which again magically every browser, every device in the world knows how to interpret and display to you, right? Somewhere down the line, there was some agreement that was struck that this is how internet is gonna work. This is how pages on the internet are gonna be consumed, and we are all benefiting from it. Now, all browsers interpret the same pages in a similar fashion, and we are able to consume it. But the same is not true for NFTs if you think about it, right? There is not one URI that I can refer to or one identifier that I can refer to an NFT with and put it in like any application like a browser and get it rendered the same way. If you own an NFT on OpenSea, you cannot take it to Rarible, and vice versa. There is no wallet, universal wallet, in which you can have all of the NFT that you own across the chain and be represented in one go, right? So the aim and purpose of InterNFT standard is to not only standardize the interface, the endpoints like ERC 720 does, to interact with the smart contract, but also to standardize the data object as well as the representation, the visual representation of how the NFT should look like. Like we have URIs, the same way we will have DIDs that you can input into a DID resolver. It will give you a document which the standard defines how you should render on any web application. So that's the main overall goal and purpose of the standard. Uh, Thirdly, how is it different from ERC 721? So ERC 721 only defines the interface, the methods that you can call on top of a smart contract, interact with it, but it doesn't necessarily define how the object, the metadata of the NFT looks like. Every NFT implementation can have a different set of metadata, And the issue is if you want to interoperate between chains or even between smart contracts, you don't only have to interact with the smart contract, you also have to transfer over the metadata, interpret the metadata as well. So that's what's missing with ERC 721, and that's what we try to solve with InterNFT, that we try to standardize the metadata along with the interface for the NFTs. So yeah, that's a little bit about InterNFT, I guess.
Yeah, that's really some amazing knowledge that you're sharing here in the live stream, and I think this is one of the biggest value adds that the AssetMantle team has brought to the entire industry. And as it becomes more widely adopted, I can see that value going back into the AssetMantle ecosystem, rewarding the team for all the hard work and innovation done. So, getting into one of the next products that you guys have, Mantleplace, which is the go-to marketplace for users to create and sell NFTs on the Mantle chain. So it's still in its early phases, but do you have any numbers for us of the buy sell volume you're getting here on this marketplace, and what features are coming down the pipeline for this product as well?
Absolutely. So to tell a little bit about Mantle Place, our intention with Mantle Place was not to, as you put it, make it the go-to marketplace, because Asset Mantle is like a layer one on which people can come and build their own marketplaces. Unlike like one chain, one marketplace, we believe in one chain layer one that can people can come and build in multiple marketplaces with their own separate economies, representations of NFTs, even royalty laws and configurations. Uh, Mantleplace was built as the proprietary first marketplace that can be referred to if someone wanted to exploit the special utilities that this protocol expresses. For example, account abstraction or fractionalization of NFTs, or DEX definition, etc. We are also building another version of it, which is in staging right now, which is Mantleplace Web3. So the code for it is totally open source, and it does functionality wise, it's not as complex as the Mantleplace is, but it does like 90% of the what the other one does without utilizing or needing any Web2 components. So that's about Mantleplace and its role in the whole AssetMantle ecosystem. Now talking about the numbers. So we released Mantleplace mid of December last year, and since then we have gotten around 50,000 signups, 50,000 accounts that have been created on top of it. We have released 30 plus creators and collections on top of the Mantleplace. Now, we initially restricted that number. We call the initial creators that have gone live so far as the Genesis creators. Now, there are a lot more collections that are lined up, but currently to do justice to the initial collection that onboarded on top of us, even when the chain was not application was not live, we are currently trying to restrict the numbers with respect to the volumes and turnovers. I do not have an exact number so far. What I do believe is there are a few collections of the 20 that have been able to sell out, but I guess there are a bunch of collections that are still out there actively getting sold currently at the launch pad and early access stage on Mantleplace.
That's some really good information, and thank you for further explaining how Mantleplace is actually not the go-to marketplace within the ecosystem. It's an example of what can be created with the tool set that you guys provide. So if anyone else is looking to launch their own NFT collection with their own unique marketplace as well, you guys have the tooling to do that, which the end result could look something like Mantleplace, right? And so in the essence of time here, we have a couple minutes left. Let's see if we can get to just quickly 2 more long form questions before we get into community questions. If any viewers watching have questions, feel free to type them into the chat now for Deepanshu. But let's get into this new yield farm that we've recently seen appear on the Mantle wallet. Can you detail what this yield farm is all about and where the yield is coming from for this pool?
Absolutely. Basically, like exploiting the capabilities that IBC enables us to operationalize. We can send over mantle tokens via IBC to other Cosmos chains. So we have built liquidity for the mantle token on the Osmosis chain, on the Comdex chain, and there are like the concept of liquidity mining, pool mining is like very common, and people are used to it, very used to it on the Cosmos side. But on the Ethereum end, we have via IBC, via Gravity Bridge, we have been able to send mantle token and build liquidity for it on the Ethereum and the Polygon end as well. And on Ethereum end, Uniswap V3 does expose the capability for you to stake your LP position as NFTs, but there is no one go-to implementation where or a place where people can go and like stake their LP positions and gain liquidity mining rewards from it. So we built it out ourselves and like incentivized LPing into these Uniswap V3 pools with mantle tokens. So that's what the new like farm page is. It's basically to like LP into Uniswap and Quickswap pools on Ethereum and on Polygon end, and gain the LPing rewards from that end.
Yeah, really cool stuff. And all the degen crypto natives will know all about yield farming and staking their LPs to earn some additional yield. So be sure to check that out, guys. And just the last one here for the long form questions. Can you give a brief explanation of Mantle Labs and detail how someone watching this video here could apply for funding to help build out the AssetMantle ecosystem?
Absolutely. So like we do have an active Mantle grants program, grants.assetmantle.one, where people can apply and community can vote on who should be getting Mantle token grants to build utilities out for AssetMantle. But at the same time, there are certain projects with which you have to like kind of form a long-term marketing relation, a long-term like investment and acceleration relation with. So and this all of this has to be like legally documented and signed. So for that we have implemented the Mantle Labs entity, which helps web2 businesses, which helps web2 creators to like quickly like get investments and get the collections and assets tokenized and sold on top of the AssetMantle chain. So that's a quick about Mantle Labs. Currently, there are 5 projects under it, and we are onboarding new ones like every month.
And everyone can find that at grants.assetmantle.one. All right, Deepanshu. So we do have one community question here. So someone wrote on Twitter, they said, what keeps you motivated to build when the market tanks and participants are exiting in droves?
That's a great question again. So definitely we are in the third phase of the bear market, as they say, where apathy kicks in and everyone loses hope. But I have been through 2 of these cycles already, so that gives me some insight into how to stay excited about the future. And in general, at AssetMantle, we are very focused and dedicated towards building out this protocol and fulfilling our mission and vision. The financials may keep on going up and down, but at the end of the day, it's the vision of building a reconciliation-free asset uh, repository that like keeps us going in this dire conditions.
That's great to hear. And always keep building, never stop. And so that's all the time we have for today, guys. Thank you so much, Deepanshu, for joining us. This was our first episode of Blockchain Weekly, and I hope you enjoyed your time with us, Deepanshu. So be sure to follow Deepanshu and AssetMantle for more updates on the project, and you can follow Block Relations at blockrelations.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, take care.
Thank you.